relationship management and marketing type roles. Some of you work in product and service design, product and service management. Some of you are actual customer experience designers charged with actually what is this thing that we're delivering. Across the room, therefore, you'll find people who are in totally different parts of the business to what you would normally deal with in your day-to-day life. And that's one of the fundamental challenges of designing a customer experience, is that it cuts right across the organisation, it cuts right across the silos that exist. It makes it challenging because quite often you don't know who's responsible in your organisation for different parts of it. So today we're going to talk about those things. Very excited about the program. I'll hand over to Donna to talk about some logistics and introduce our first speaker. Thank you all very much for coming, and I hope you enjoy the day.
Thanks, Steve. Tiny logistics things. Restrooms are in the back corner. The wireless, there's 3 networks. They're CommsCom 123. The password for them is the same word as the network 2013. So CommsCom 2013 is the password for all 3. Just see how they go. Let me know if you're having trouble with them. The hashtag for things like Twitter, Flickr, places like that is CX13. I will also keep a basic kind of eye on that today. But if you want to get my attention, like to tell me something, first, like I'm in the flesh, and you can approach me and you can say, Donna, the room's too cold, I need a jumper, the food was awful, you know, all those kind of things. Like, tell me instead of telling Twitter. But if you need to get my attention because you can't find me, do it on @UX Australia, because I'll see that where I may not see it in a flood of CX13 things. Okay, but otherwise, yeah, like, come find me or come find Steve for real problems, because we may not see them, and you know, we can deal with almost anything. I think that's all the logistics. The program and the timings are in the front of the conference book, so you can see when we're eating, when breaks are, and all that kind of stuff. Otherwise, I'd like to welcome Scott up to the stage. So, as Steve said, we run lots of conferences, and we always introduce the speakers. So I very, very frequently will get up and say, "It's my absolute pleasure to introduce this speaker." Blah, blah, blah. And I mean it every time I say it, but today I mean it even more. Scott will tell you all about why I'm such a big fan of his. I'm not going to give away the secret, but I've been a big fan of his company for many years, both for the products that they sell and for their the way that they do things and their fantastic customer experience. So we're really pleased to have you here, and thank you very much, Scott Jordan.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Well, first, I really appreciate the invitation, Steve and Donna, and everyone for coming. This is my first occasion to publicly speak, so please work with me as I muddle through this, but I think you'll find it an enjoyable presentation. I really have been excited about this. This has been many years in the working. Donna invited me to come out here, I think 4 years ago, and I decided to come visit Australia and asked Donna if the invitation was still good, and she said, absolutely, the timing works perfectly. And I've been traveling your country for the past 10 days. I started in Hamilton Island, spent several days there, spent a few days in Melbourne. Did I say that right? Melbourne. And now Sydney, and I've done so much stuff, and it's all culminating with this presentation, and I love your country. It's awesome. You know, kind of something interesting about our business, we've noticed that, you know, 2 of the top 5 trafficked cities for our website are Sydney and Melbourne. And that's bizarre to us because we don't know effective marketing here at all. So I've come here to sort of learn about that and understand what's going on. Why is it that people in this country have appreciated and, you know, our product so much, especially given the high cost of shipping and everything else. So let me tell you, before I show you about my product, let me tell you about the genesis and some of the thoughts that have gone into it. So, As I looking at technology.
It's on.
Pushing.
Excuse me.
I can do it this way. Can you
Oh, we've like done something stupid like around the battery.
All right.
No. Did you do that?
I think.
Just the down and up arrows.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'll get. Hate technology.
We did practice
Like,
this.
yeah, this was working.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay, there we go.
Good, good. And I'll fix that later.
You know, so my business is the user interface of clothing, something that people have not really thought about. So, did my mic?
No, it's okay.
Okay. So this is where it all started. I used to be a lawyer practicing law for a very large firm in Chicago, and then I went to work for a .com, constantly trying to stop practicing law because I was miserable. As a part of it, I was traveling back and forth to Princeton, New Jersey, every week, and that was excruciating. And managing, you know, being a gadget guy, trying to carry all my stuff with me, I couldn't figure out a good way to do it. It was really quite frustrating. I was constantly juggling all these things. This is what you know, I kind of looked like it oftentimes, especially when traveling. It was a very typical, you know, ugly American, you know, with the photo vest and the fanny pack and just whatever I needed to carry to get there. You know, so, you know, no one looks good dressing this way. So I thought there had to be a better way to do this. The final moment where, you know, I just really decided, you know, to invent what I've done here is when I was in an airport and I had an earpiece listening to my tunes and walked by a doorknob, and this might have happened to you. It practically pulled off my ear, and it really was painful. You imagine a dangling wire pulling off. I said, well, now it's all coming together. You're carrying devices, you have wires, you know, how can you put it all together? So that's where the idea of SCOTTeVEST came from. You know, the frustration of practicing law, traveling, all the gadgets, and the earplug in my ear. So this is, the difference is inside, is what we'd like to say. That's a representative of one of our garments, and all those things that you see in there are in my jacket here. And it's designed to hold them in such a fashion that it's all balanced and you don't feel it. And I've actually got a volunteer, because I'm gonna pull it all out. Oliver offered to volunteer. Before I pull this all out, first look at me, and it just doesn't feel or seem like you had it. So I basically rethought clothing. How does a customer engage in clothing? Thank you, Oliver.
Been a
Now,
model before?
there is, I don't know how much weight is in there, and we didn't plan this out in advance, so it's all on your shoulders. So instead of carrying a fanny pack, yeah, you feel it right on your shoulders, and it's just quite comfortable. So really, no one thought about clothing, you know, in a fashion.
But it's really comfortable. You can feel it, and it really just sort of comes around the neck and pulls down. Yeah?
It's like if you had a backpack with 30 pounds of stuff on, if it puts the weight on your shoulders, it really doesn't feel uncomfortable.
And it's balanced.
That's exactly right. So thank you, Ellen. So well done. So the sleeves back in here. So the concept was, at first, before I pull this stuff out, is I had no desire to really get in the clothing business at that time. I thought I came up with a clever idea, design a product that has a way to carry clothing, that has a way to carry all your stuff, and integrate the wires. And you know, I thought that instead of building it myself, I'll just patent it, and you know, then license it to other folks. And I formed SCOTTeVEST ultimately as a proof of concept company, you know, so that I could show clothing apparel makers that if a little startup company like this could do this, that they should be licensing the technology-enabled clothing brand, which is the TEC logo, for their purposes as well. In the process of doing that, I got so busy selling SCOTTeVEST that I never got around to really properly licensing it. Having said that, I have licensed it some pretty major brands that I think you'd all be familiar with. And then you have a show here called Dragon's Den. Is anyone familiar with that? Or in the U.S., we have a similar show called Shark Tank, formed by Mark Burnett, which I think he's an Aussie, no? Or Brit. So let me unload just to show you everything that I'm carrying and how I'm doing it. So, you know, I have my iPad and a special pocket for that. I have a key holder. You know, guys are always forgetting their keys, so I have a special container for that. I have some sunscreen here. This is kind of nifty. I have a pocket here that you can actually control your iPhone right through the fabric and do whatever you need, and it actually will work with Siri. And I patented the concept of wires and clothing. So there's a wire going from that pocket all the way up, so I can listen to my music without having wires dangling all over me. And that was the core of the original idea. In this pocket, in case my iPad's not enough, I've got a Kindle. And in this pocket, I have my iPhone. Now, battery life is a constant problem for me on traveling. So I've got a wire here and a battery here, all connected. So I can constantly be charging while I'm doing this. And no one else has really ever thought of this, and this is all part of our patented process.